Hello there and welcome to a run through of the first half of Tacitus's chapter 29 of our A-level text. I think I'll probably get down to line 7 in this video. Okay. First of all, notice that ignorus is the key word here. It's pushed right to the very beginning. Of course, it describes Galba. He's clueless. He's old. He's clueless. He's badly advised, but that's his fault. He chose these people to be his privy council. This same Galba that was a contemptor of omens and superstitions, here he is when we meet him in line 1, totally unaware of what's going on behind his very back. With Otho, he is described as intentus fatigabat sacris. So he's intently berating the gods. He's intent on the sacrifices, really concentrating. He needs good news, and he's fatigabat deos. He's berating, importuning the gods to try and find out what he should do, probably, or what the future holds. Wonderful Tacitus, though. He's berating the deos of an imperii alieni iam. He's berating the gods of an empire already belonging to somebody else. Okay, strictly, historically not accurate, because Otho is in the earliest stages of launching his coup, but the exaggeration is very telling, very dramatic, and so succinctly put as well. Poor Galba. There he is. He's almost asking the wrong gods to help him. What a clueless and hopeless individual he is. Then the tone changes. I think that's helped by the use of the imperfect tense there, fatigabat. He was there berating them, wanting an answer. Come, at the start of line 2. That's called an inverted come clause. You'll find it with the present tense to make it more vivid. A good example in English of the inverted come clause is if we say things like, I was walking down the street when suddenly somebody jumped out. Instead of what the usual Latin word order is as when he was doing this, somebody phoned. It makes it more dramatic to switch those two clauses round. Anyway, when there is brought a rumour of some senator, incertum quem, unsure which one, being taken to the camp, that's the Praetorian camp. It might seem odd that the senatorum is rappi, that he is grabbed, snatched, carted off, as I said in the italics at the top. But this seems to be the way that things are done. Ironically, these men heading for supreme power are the playthings, the puppets of the soldiery. Mox, Othonem esse qui raperator. Then the rumour sort of unfolds. Next thing you know, the rumour says that it's Otho who was being taken off to the camp. At first they couldn't see, he was in the distance maybe. Which one is it? Which one is it? And then, oh, it's Otho who's being carted off. Gosh, what can we make of that? Anyway, asyndeton. There's no time to pause, really. At the same time, from all over the city, as someone had met the procession, as people met the procession, as each person had been obvious, literally in the road with this procession. They bumped into them. At the same time, from all over the city, as people encountered the procession, some came. There's no verb because we haven't got time for that. These are exciting times, and the pace must be rapid. Alii formidine augentes, quidam minora vero. Normally you'd have alii, but Tacitus doesn't go in for doing the predictable thing, so he's got alii ... quidam. Anyway, some of these people are augentes, are exaggerating in their fear. Yes, there was Otho, and he was being paraded by 10,000 soldiers at least. I counted them myself. This is the end. This is terrible. Quidam minora vero. Certain people were reporting less than the truth. So vero there is an ablative of comparison after minora. And then Tacitus brilliantly has a sort of psychological insight into this. Why were these people saying less than the truth? And he says, ne tum quidem. Not even then did they forget their adulation, adulationis. I think this is one of the most hurtful things that Tacitus feels has happened to Rome as a result of having autocratic leaders. The Romans have been turned into, forgive me, fawning foreigners. You might expect this behaviour out east, but not in Rome. And yet here these people are grovelling and no doubt underreporting what was going on, so they didn't upset the great one, Galba. Not that he was that great, but he was still being, and maybe that makes it even worse. I mean, if he had been an emperor to be feared, a Caligula, a Nero, or respected like Augustus, then maybe it would have been forgivable just about, but their adulation is to Galba. There's this hopeless, hapless, helpless man who happens to be in power. Notice that word, adulationis, 5 or 6 syllables. We've had rapidity ever since the start of line 2. Brief, pacey clauses, hardly any connection. And then we get this word, which we can really savour and dwell upon, adulationis. You can almost hear Tacitus's sneer as he writes this word. So it's emphatically positioned right at the end. Obliviscor, by the way, from which we get obliti, oblitus sum, that tends to take the genitive. So, igitor, normally second word, here first word, just a quirk of Tacitus. Consultantibus placuit. The verb placeo in the impersonal tends to mean that people decided. It pleased them to do something. In other words, they decided to do something. So literally, it seemed good to them consulting. So that's a substantive present participle in the dative. So, in other words, they had a quick meeting and decided, per tentari animum, to test the mind of the cohort which was on duty outside the palace. And they were going to do this not by Galba himself, whose auctoritas, whose power, authority, was being kept intact for, I suppose, for greater situations, for more serious situations. There's no point sending the big guns out, in inverted commas surely, because Galba counts for very little. It's going to be Piso that goes out anyway. They're going to keep their powder dry as regards Galba for the moment. So Piso's going to do a sort of exploratory foray onto the steppes, have a chat with the soldiers and see what they think of the situation. Piso pro gradibus domus vocatos in hoc modum adlocutus est. Piso, in front of the steps of the palace, called the soldiers together and addressed them in this way. Okay? That's enough for the moment.